All right, looks like we are live. Everything is functioning. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. This is going to be verdict watch for the Karen Reed trial. Now, I feel like we're going to get a verdict today. I don't know about you guys, but that's just how I feel about it. Barb Griffin. This is an older comment from about an hour ago. I think the jury will find her not guilty, but I hope I am wrong. I say not guilty to second-degree murder, but guilty to vehicular manslaughter. What's up, CJK? So, are you a fan? Why, yes, I am a fan. And then I was kind of reading some of these comments. People are so crazy. I think this is Channel 10. People just arguing back and forth. Bon Lee, not guilty. You can always see the troll, right? She just can't control herself. Like, what is shouting not guilty? What is that going to help anybody? Like, it's one thing to discuss it, and another to actually have like a ball on the court, some kind of an emotional attachment. It's good to see you, Barb, CJK, GP. What's up? No trolls in here. I'm just talking about these comments from the live stream, Karen Reed trial live stream, and it looks like it's NBC 10, and they have the camera fixed on a fan. And it's just live streaming. Well, while this fan is spinning and spinning, so are the emotions of a lot of these people in the comment section here. So as of right now, that's what we have. But if you guys could take part in our poll, are we going to get a verdict today? And if so, is it going to be guilty, not guilty? Maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I suspect today. That's why I was in no rush to get this live stream running. Figure in the next hour or two, we should hear something. What's going on, Mustang? All right, so the jury began deliberating on Friday, June 13th. After closing arguments and detailed jury instructions from Judge Beverly Canone, they deliberated for nearly 2 hours that day before being sent home for the weekend. So here we are, Monday, June 16th. They're back at work with no verdict yet reached. Yet, right? Yet. Welcome in Phil Bond and Cheeks. What's going on? Cheeks says hope guilty, but we will see. Yeah, like I said, um, she did kind of admit to hitting him or showing some guilt. And she mentioned to multiple people that she did this and that I hit him. The defense is going to say, well, these people staged the crime scene to make it look as if she did hit him. So if she finds him in the snow and she's kind of erratic, she might just say, oh, well, obviously I'm responsible. I must have hit him, right? I've been drinking. My tail light's busted. And this is where I dropped him off right here. I must have hit him. But if somebody stages a crime scene to make it look that way, maybe they're hoping that when you come back to the crime scene and you'll say something stupid like that. Maybe it's all part of the plan. Stage the crime scene so much that even your targeted patsy kind of falls for it. You know what I mean? Like, did I? Kind of gaslighting. Okay, let's take a look at some of these closing arguments. And this was on June 13th. Special prosecutor Hank Brennan argued that Reed, drunk and angry, see, the second degree murder is the angry part. The vehicular manslaughter is the drunk part. So I don't think they're going to be able to prove that she was angry. Drunk and that she hit him, absolutely. Struck John O'Keefe with her Lexus SUV and left him to die in a blizzard outside Brian Albert's home in Canton on January 29th, 2022. He emphasized Reed's alleged statements. I hit him, the broken taillight pieces from the scene, and data showing her SUV in reverse around 12:32 a.m. See, these pieces of information are what will slap the jury across the face. It's these things. You don't want to confuse them. You keep it simple, right? Kind of like in the Delphi case, they kept it consistent all across the board when it came to the prosecution. Let's see here. Aligning with O'Keefe's phone's last recorded movement. So you have her going in reverse, and you have the last recorded movement from O'Keefe's phone intersecting right there. Brennan acknowledged Trooper Michael Proctor's inappropriate texts, but insisted they don't negate physical evidence like the cocktail glass and tailgate shards. I mean, it's clear as day, right? Clear as day. Let's go ahead and welcome in Misty Free Spirit, J Ray. I don't think that's what she said. Yeah, she did. Here. Let me go back to my notes. And these are verbatim. Let's see here. Karen Reed. Make sure I titled them correctly. Okay, firefighter Timothy Natal testified that Reed repeatedly said, I hit him. I hit him. I hit him. While attempting to perform CPR on O'Keefe outside 34 Fairview Road in Canton. Other first responders, including paramedics, reported hearing similar statements from Reed, such as asking if O'Keefe was dead and expressing guilt. Prosecutors allege Reed made incriminating remarks to friends and first responders, including telling O'Keefe's niece and nephew, I'm afraid I hit your uncle, and saying to Canton police officer, I hit my boyfriend. These were cited in court as evidence of her acknowledging responsibility. Was she acknowledging responsibility or trying to piece things together and kind of thinking out loud? She's like, well, we couldn't find him. There he is. If, it looks like he might be dead. I have a broken tail light. I've been drinking. Like, oh shit, I did this. I most likely did this. Or she did do it. And I don't know. I always felt like she might be a psychopath. The fact that it's obvious that I believe that she hit him, but she's showing absolutely no remorse for it. Not only that, but she's allowing her defense team to drag in O'Keefe's friends and all these innocent people, right? She doesn't care who she has to step on to get out of this mess. It's good to see you, Misty. Who else we got? Mark. What up, Mark? Paradox. What's up, my friend? How the hell are you? What do you call two physicians that walk into a bar? Or shit, walk into a room for that matter? La Bambas, not my Richie. Not my Richie. Why, Bob? Stopping in to say hello. I've learned that talking true crime is as combative as politics at Thanksgiving family dinners. Now, that was something I was thinking about actually, I think it was yesterday, how true crime and politics are basically exactly the same. They coincide. You have people who vote on the right, they're more prone to be like pro prosecution, for the rule of law, local law enforcement, support your blue. And then on the Democratic side, you have people who are more like anarchist. They're not really pro prosecution, pro law enforcement. If anything, they want to defund the police. So, if part of the system, police are a really big part of the system. You can't get your arrest or you can't have an investigation without law enforcement. They're an integral part. But the system's fucked up because you have this integral part, which is law enforcement, working next door to the most important part, which is the court system. Those need to be completely separated. But you have these members of law enforcement who are charging people daily. And when people challenge those charges, those officers have to appear in court. So this officer continually appearing in court is now creating relationships with attorneys, district attorneys, judges, and it's like there's a bias there now. So if you guys want to be hypnotized by the fan, ooh, check out some of these comments by the people who are waiting for the verdict here on NBC 10. There's thousands of people waiting. Well, at least there was. Let me see what we got now. It doesn't say. See all these trolls? I'm looking to hook up with you. Oh, man. People are wild. There was no collision and it hurts your brain. I know, right? You don't think like I am, so you're a bird brain. You don't agree with me, so therefore you're an idiot. I'm smart, you're dumb. Courtney, welcome in. Oh, I thought the answer to the joke was La Bambas. I didn't get it. Ha 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 ha. What up, La Bambas? Ba la 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 bamba. Necesito la boca de gracia. Una boca de gracia. Panepatillo y arriba y arriba. Yo no soy mani nieto. Soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Ba, ba, bamba. Politicians create the laws. Well, we vote in the politicians, and then they vote on the laws. Courtney, what do you call the two physicians? A paradox. Because Paradox stopped by for a minute. A paradox. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Meh, meh, meh. Oh, you speak El Salvadorian? Yeah, I'm part of Tren de Agua. Tried to drink the agua. I'm part of the gang. Don't drink the agua. I guess Big Balls is deflecting. First time I heard that. A paradox. Let's see.
Tell you that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
Sorry, guys. I need to reset my computer real quick. Not my computer, but my screen. I'm going to shut that down. Stop sharing. I'll be back in a jiffy here. Hey, we're back. All right, let's try this again. Ba ba bamba. Now I got that song in my head. Ba ba bamba.
Tell you that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed were out drinking that night at two bars with friends and neighbors. Now, the ones who've testified so far remember that he was drinking beer and she was drinking vodka. None.
Damn, and she was drinking vodka. Let me go to his autopsy here. Let's see. Cause of death: blunt impact injuries to the head and hypothermia. Let's see. I know I have the toxicology here. No prescription medication or illicit drugs were found in O'Keefe's system. His blood alcohol level was high, ranging from 0.21 to 0.28. Damn. The legal limit is 0.08. I didn't know you could get drunk like that off beer. Did you get blocked? I don't know. Should we block you? Are we supposed to? Did you commit a blockable offense? Oh, yikes. Yeah, I had a bunch of birds trapped in my garden today. I had to let them out. Daisy, what's going on? Y'all expecting not guilty? I watched the retrial again. I'd vote not guilty. Tons of reasonable doubt. Well, reasonable doubt as far as her kind of hitting him out of anger, but there's plenty of evidence to put her in prison for driving while drunk and hitting him, causing his death. Yeah, she's going to get the manslaughter. She's going to get charged with manslaughter.
remembers a relationship on the rocks. John O'Keefe and Karen Reed greeted each other with a hug and kiss as they met up at C.F. McCarthy's pub that night in 2022.
There didn't seem to be any tension between them and C.F. McCarthy.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is the before, right? This activity is before they start smashing beers and drinking vodka, right? Like, hey, we're hopeful. Let's have a great night. But we all know they were having this weird argument. We've all read the text chain. So the dynamic there's something weird going on with, in my opinion, Karen Reed at this moment. She's putting unwanted pressure on herself. She's feeling like John's trying to turn her into a housewife. And she's like, I didn't sign up for this. And he's like, well, that's what I want. And she's just kind of getting weird about it.
In 2022.
There didn't seem to be any tension between them and C.F. McCarthy's. Is that right?
Not that I recall.
The prosecution has said the couple argued that night and that Reed ended up backing into O'Keefe with her SUV. But witness after witness testified they saw no trouble, not at C.F. McCarthy's and not at another bar called The Waterfall, where O'Keefe and Reed went next.
It seemed like they were quite lovey-dovey at that point.
In fact, Karina Kolakidis said Reed kept praising O'Keefe for taking responsibility for his orphan niece and nephew.
See how she's bringing it up? It's on her mind, right? The same shit that she was kind of bringing up during the text chain. That's what's on her mind during this night of binge drinking.
She also wished that some of the family members would step up and help out a little bit more because he took all the...
Right? Family needs to help out a little bit more, not me. I'm feeling all this unwanted pressure. So she's got all this pressure on herself. And if she's creating this, inflating this balloon that's ready to pop, who's to say after all of these damn vodkas that it didn't?
Burden on himself.
Also at the Waterfall that night, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, whom the defense has tried to implicate in O'Keefe's death. In the video, Albert and Higgins seem to be play fighting. The video also shows O'Keefe and Reed leaving the Waterfall bar, and as they do, O'Keefe appears to have something in his hand. Did John O'Keefe leave that bar?
Okay, so it's very interesting. You can see that he has the glass in his hand. There's an impact mark on the back of her vehicle that could be easily caused by that glass. There's pieces of glass, I think, on the bumper, right? And then found nearby. And see how he's holding the glass? He's not holding the glass with his arm out like this. Remember the defense tried to run all these stupid tests? Here, let me pull this up. Actually, let's do this. Let me take a screenshot of this. Does it go any further?
Hand. Did John?
No, that's it. Just want to make a quick point. Okay, so I just wanted to grab a screenshot of that real quick. And let's look at the crash reconstruction images. I mean, who the hell walks like that? The people conducting these experiments knew that they were being dishonest with this bullshit right here. Look, you want to know why? Because when you take this elbow right here and you put it against the rib cage where it is here, where it's supposed to be, right? Up against the body. And if there's no broken bones, they're trying to prove here that his bones would have been broken. But if you get hit right here in the elbow and you pin it against your rib cage, so you have the SUV on this side and then your rib cage on this side, and then your body's going to get tossed. It's going to break the plastic. That plastic's going to embed into your skin, scrape across your arm as you're being thrown. It's exactly what happened to him. That's why there's no broken bones. It hit him right on the elbow. The elbow is one of the strongest parts of your body, that and your forehead. For good reasons, right? So he's holding, if he got out of the car with this glass, if he got out of Karen's SUV, he would have been walking exactly like this. And then she backed up into him. So almost like the same direction that this vehicle right here hit him right there. The tail light was right there.
In his hand. Did John O'Keefe leave that bar with a glass in his hand?
I think so. Yeah, I think he did.
Is that the same glass found at the scene?
I don't know. That's up to the Commonwealth to prove, right?
What's up, bad actors? What is up? Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Let's see. I thought I had another video here. Close some of these windows. Singing, this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. Guess we should probably be monitoring the actual courthouse. Oh, still the fan. I wonder when the shit will hit the fan. Is that what we're waiting for? YouTube bad actors. Maybe she didn't want a ready-made family. Absolutely. And how would a psychopath deal with that? You know, instead of saying, hey, I need to cut things off with you. I want to break up with you. This isn't working out. I do not want a ready-made family. But that's too difficult, right? Maybe in the heat of an argument, I'll just run over him. Good to see you, Beth. Let's see. I must have missed a bunch of you guys. I got Daisy, La Bombas, Paradox, the two doctors. Ooh. And a super chat. Thank you, Daisy. Appreciate that. Yeah, busy's better than bored. To the future. Back to the future. The jury asked about the verdict form, probably asked, where's the not guilty option? I think the verdict is very, very soon. Yeah, I think we can expect it within an hour or two here. Damage changed, defense says. Witness said only had a crack. Then suddenly a debris filled surrounding John. I don't know. Here, let's play this other video because you can't see shit. I don't care what anybody says. See, where is it? Dash cam. Oh, right here.
First officer arrives at a Canton home early that snowy.
Yeah, look at this. You can't see shit. You're not going to know if there's glass shards there, broken tail lights. Like, you're not going to know if there's a man there. And wasn't it Karen Reed that saw him? There he is what she said. Because she was expecting him to be on the ground right there where she hit him.
Morning.
When I arrived, I saw Miss Reed looked like she was giving CPR to him, and she had blood on her face.
Officer Stephen Seraph says he saw a man face up in the snow, later identified as John O'Keefe. Karen Reed and 2 other women were huddled over him. Seconds later, dash cam video shows.
Let's go to Daisy. You're right about that. The worst enemy of the prosecution is the investigative team in this case. They're their own worst enemy. They're their own worst witness. Everything they did was bad. I mean, and I'm not even talking about the things that looked strange, you know, like using a like a blower to kind of get the snow off. That stuff makes sense. It's just everything else, like the chain of custody, where they stored the vehicle, and they didn't even really have good security cameras. So if you're gonna keep evidence in this room, you need to make sure that you got good cameras on there and no missing footage.
Jurors a frantic Reed running back and forth in front of the police cruiser.
What's up,
Miss
Cindy?
Reed was visibly upset. She kept saying, this is all my fault. This is my fault. I did this. And she was very hysterical.
Seraph says O'Keefe had no pulse and was cold to the touch, but how he died differs greatly according to the prosecution and defense.
The relationship's up.
Prosecutors say Reed and O'Keefe were having problems. WCVB animation shows how prosecutors say Reed and O'Keefe arrived in her Lexus SUV at that house in Canton for an after-hours party, but then she left without him. The next morning, O'Keefe's body was found lying in a snowbank near a fire hydrant in the front corner of the yard. Prosecutors say as Reed drove away, she slammed her SUV into O'Keefe, going more than 24 miles an hour, leaving him for dead in a blizzard.
Yeah, maybe he said something to her. Maybe she did do it out of anger. I think that she did it on accident. You know, she meant to speed away, but put it in reverse, accidentally hitting him. But he could have gotten out of the car, maybe called her a bitch, or like said, you know, some people can get real low. They can hit you where it hurts. That's one thing you risk when you get close to people and you get in a relationship, right? Everything's all hunky-dory when you're together. Everything's fun. But then when you split, all of your dark secrets that you trusted these people with, they'll just throw them out. You know, they'll just lay them out on the table, and they'll start hitting you where they know it hurts the most. So maybe he said something to her, you know, kind of like a low blow, and she snapped because she's a little bit crazy, which I think she might be. And also she's extremely intoxicated. What's up, Davey? Says, I will not be not guilty. Defense expert witness or way too good. I thought they were horrible. Badass, what's up? The Black Widow. Oh, man. Brings me back to the 90s. Why'd you get a cyborg voice? I'm a robot. I'm talking like a robot.
Reed's defense insists O'Keefe went inside the house where he was killed during a fight and a dog attack.
Her car never struck John O'Keefe. She did not cause his death. And that means that somebody else did.
Outside the courthouse, Reed's loyal supporters continue to defend her.
She did.
Defense 101, right? It's all theater. You open up the playbook. Okay, create doubt. All right, you need an alternate suspect.
Not kill John O'Keefe, and the evidence is going to show.
The defense attorneys kind of prey on the ignorance of the jury, right? Just some random people. I can fool them. Never been in trial before? Shit. I got this.
That she was framed.
Any one of us could be Karen Reed. It's that simple.
Oh, God.
A case that has divided.
We're all Karen Reed. We're all Richard Allen.
Canton, now about to play out in front of a national audience.
It's all the same.
It is quiet at this hour, but there are a lot of media outlets here. Everything from Court TV, which is planning gavel-to-gavel coverage, ABC's 2020, Inside Edition, Officer Sarah.
It's all the same. Let's go to Paradox. No, everyone watched the same trial. If we all thought the same thing, this would be a boring place. Yeah. It's all about the mob. All right. As long as we can form a mob and we all agree, anybody outside of the mob, you are wrong. Unless you can convince the majority of this mob to join your mob. You can always start a new mob if you want. But it's always like the power of the majority. Now, if you're the Democratic Party, what you do is you militarize the fringe minority. What's going on, Davey? Lapisoto. Can you tell me how Lapisoto was awful? Yes, family. I feel bad for the people that are being dragged into this. You know, it's like she has no remorse. She's like, yeah, I did this, but now I'm going to get myself out of it. And to me, the psychopath will say, well, John's dead. I can't bring him back. You know, no reason for me to go to prison. But the truth is, in reality, she should be saying, damn, I hit him. I shouldn't have been driving drunk. If I would have made better decisions today and wasn't so reckless, I wouldn't have killed him. I'm pretty sure it might have had a dash cam, but I don't think one that records. But these types of vehicles, they record all the movement of the vehicle. And apparently right when John O'Keefe's phone kind of stopped moving, right around that same time, her vehicle was traveling in reverse. And I don't know how fast she was going. But really, you only need to be going maybe 10 miles per hour to really do some damage. And it's not the hit that killed him. Remember, he's extremely intoxicated. The hit only threw him to the ground. It was the landing which did the majority of the damage, in my opinion. But I think if she would have stopped right there, got out of the vehicle, ran into the home and said, hey, I accidentally hit John, they would have brought him inside, called the ambulance, and he would be alive today. But instead, she hit him, whether she knew it or not, and left. That's what killed John, was the reckless abandonment. Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, one smart thing we did was move out of California. I won't even visit California. I won't I don't even want to think about California. Assuming she did it? What do you mean? I'm assuming she hit him, yeah. Absolutely. I wouldn't say assuming, presuming is more accurate. I don't think she should be charged with murder. I think it was an accident. Well, I don't know if it was an accident or not, but they definitely haven't convinced me that she intentionally hit him. But I'm 100% convinced that she did hit him. And if she's drinking and drunk, we all know what that means. For me, it's the only question is, when are they going to go ahead and bring back this verdict? And then when it comes to sentencing, I'm wondering what they're going to give her. I'm thinking at least 10 years. She'll be out in 6, maybe. Davey said, why didn't the people come outside? I don't know. Maybe they're being too loud. The Curious Contrarian. Thanks. You too, Dan. Same to you, my friend. We got 2 doctors in the building. J-Ray says no medical expert sees any sign of a collision on his body. That's not true. Is that what you've been telling yourself? Here, let me go to my notes for you. These are all factual. None of this is going to... My notes are just the facts surrounding the case. Let's see. The medical examiners undermined manner of death and testimony that O'Keefe's injuries, no leg trauma, head lacerations, aren't typical of a pedestrian pedestrian vehicle collision. That's what they said. Now remember, that's not what killed him. He wasn't killed by the impact of the vehicle. It was just simply enough to hit John, break the taillight, have the pointed ends of that taillight embed into his arm as it pushes him to the ground. When he hits the ground, he hits his head pretty good. Hard enough to fracture it. All right, so the physical evidence, the prosecution points to the broken taillight, O'Keefe's high blood alcohol, implying impaired driving. They also introduced O'Keefe's sweater with the forensic report claiming no dog DNA to counter the defense's dog bite theory. So they said it's not consistent with a vehicle pedestrian fatality, but they also said it's not consistent with somebody being in a fight or a physical altercation. Here, let me read. Let me go to my notes. Manner of death. Undetermined. Dr. Scorty Bello could not conclude the manner of death, whether it was homicide or not, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Despite the prosecution pressure to rule it a homicide, she noted the injuries were not typical of a pedestrian struck by a vehicle, as there was no impact sites on O'Keefe's legs or significant signs of a physical altercation. So the defense is saying there was a physical altercation. Prosecution is saying she was hit with a vehicle. The autopsy report says there's no signs of either one. Right? So let's just be clear on that. Yep. I mean, at first glance, it might appear to be a dog bite, but the truth is, a broken taillight is much like it's like a bunch of sharp teeth. So it makes sense that it might look like that a little bit. Yep. If he was attacked by a dog, there would be dog DNA all over him. Absolutely, Cindy. I don't think they did enough during trial to convince the jury that she meant to hit him. I think it's possible that she did, drunk and mad. And if John took a low, hit her with a low blow. Some people are really angry and violent, especially when they drink. Let's go. Let me go back. John O'Keefe. Specific injuries, Dan. A laceration on the back right side of the head, described as a compound injury, with associated skull fractures originating from this area. So hemorrhage and bleeding on top of the brain, noted after pulling back the scalp. 2 black eyes and swelling around the eyes, potentially from the blood seeping from the head fracture. A cut above the eye. Abrasions on the nose and right arm, and a small scratch on the right knee. Scratches and marks on his arms, which the defense argued were consistent with dog bites or scratches, though the medical examiner did not confirm this. Davey says, experts say the punctures in his arm are from an animal. Yeah, unfortunately, you can pay an expert to say anything. If the check is big enough, he's gonna be a smart guy. He's gonna see what you're hoping he'll say, and in order to keep the money coming, they're gonna say exactly what they're needed to say. Whoever hired them, they're gonna say they're biased. Let's just put it that way. There's an obvious bias. If you show me one expert, I'll show you another that disagrees. J. Ray says, only the Commonwealth has the burden of proof. That's not true. You have a burden of proof, especially when you're trying to convince a jury of third-party suspects. So you have a burden of creating enough proof that it might be possible. So the prosecution's not going to take that burden. They're going to do their best to ignore it. We're not concerned with this whole fight theory. That burden definitely falls on the defense. Badass. It's going to come down to what the judge didn't allow the jury to hear. Yep, raccoon eyes, the blood dripping down. Good to see you, Boston. Typically a whiplash injury. Yep. And if you get hit on the side like this, you know, your neck's going to snap quick. You know, especially when you're not expecting it, you're just walking and then boom, you know, your neck has whiplash in the wrong direction. Why didn't the state have an expert say it wasn't dog wounds? I think they did. Yeah, they did. They're accusing, they're creating the narrative that she was set up. That there was that the fight, he was beat up inside of a home by his fellow officers and dumped out in the street. That's a third-party suspect, Jerry. Yep.
We have photographic evidence that my client's vehicle, before it was taken by the police, was in different condition than when the police actually evaluated it.
So they're definitely going to try to convince the jury of that.
Well, we were looking for John walking or wherever he may be. So I'm driving and looking on both sides, and I think Jen was looking on both sides, and Karen she would be in the back seat, then she'd be in between us, then she'd be in the back seat, and then in between us.
See, she knew.
And as you came down,
See, she knew. She's like, I hit him, but I didn't think I hit him that hard. Like, it's not like I ran him over. I just backed into him. Like, you know, I hit him. I used the truck as like a big linebacker and tackled his ass. I didn't plan on killing him, but if she comes back and sees that he's dead, she's like, oh shit. You know, I didn't even think that he could have fallen and hit his head on the ground and then died from the hypothermia.
Feel on Fairview, what, if anything, what happened there?
Jen said, my sister's house is right up here. And all of a sudden, Karen said, there he is, there he is. Let me the F out of this car.
Right. How did she know where he was? Like, she knows exactly what happened to him. The jury's going to be looking at this exactly the way we are, guys. Why is she so excited? Why is she expecting to find him on the ground somewhere? Right? Acting erratic.
And she started kicking the door.
And how was she kicking the door?
With her feet. Well, how was she kicking the door?
How hard was she kicking?
Oh, pretty hard. I mean, she wanted to get out of the car, but it was locked.
She's like, how? She was kicking the car with her hand.
Once you start driving, the back doors lock. So I looked over and I didn't see anything. And I looked at Jen and I said, she's crazy. And I unlocked the door and I sat back and watched. And she ran over to a mound of snow.
And so as the time you're driving down the road, have you seen anything?
See the way that she explains it? A mound of snow. Like nobody could have seen him there. It's the middle of a blizzard. But she sees him. She knows he's right there. She knows right where to look. Right where she left him.
Driving down, sort of looking at the side of the road, have you seen anything on your side of the vehicle?
No.
And when you say she gets out of the vehicle, is it your side or passenger side where Mr. Cave is? That
the driver's side.
So she gets out of the driver's side of the vehicle and the back passenger, correct?
Correct.
And how quickly does she go sort of from your car to where she ends up?
She ran over to the mound.
And at that point in time, even when she runs over, could you see what she was running over to?
At some point, I realized it was the shape of a body.
And when was that you realized? When in this sort of sequence were you able to realize that?
That was in seconds. Once she ran over to his body, I said, oh my God. And she lifted up his shirt and started to lay on him.
And when you stopped to let her out, where were you in relation to that mound of snow or what you learned?
I think my car was like in the middle of the road. I just stopped.
And in relation to where the mound of
Yeah,
snow
I agree
was,
with that,
think you were
Boston.
Past it at that point, so where was it?
Yes.
So it was located behind your vehicle?
Yeah.
Ms. Gilman, if you could, I would ask just let's plan on that till about 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Look at that. You can't see shit. You're telling me that Karen Reed driving down this same road saw John's body on the side of in the yard covered in snow. David Duchovny. He's a legend.
Okay. What's depicted in the screen in front of this camera angle? Do you recognize what that is?
That's my car.
Is that essentially where you parked your car when Miss Reed started kicking the doors and got out and ran over?
Yes.
Could you just press play for a moment?
J. Ray, wait for the lighting to adjust.
Now, from this video, do you see where in relation to your vehicle?
What do you mean the lighting? This is exactly what it would have looked like if you were driving down the street. I'm starting to understand why people support Karen Reed. They have this weird ability to warp reality.
Mr. O'Keefe, where you found Mr. O'Keefe?
With the pointer?
Okay. And Ms. Gilman, if you could, again, just play for about the 6.5 minutes.
Learn about ISO 20387 biobanking accreditation.
Pick on you, and they're gonna.
Well, don't say things like, wait for the lighting to change. Like, what are you talking about? We're all looking at the same. Don't gaslight me and then get mad when I say something to call it out. Not today.
Do you have a problem? Huh?
Well, we were looking.
Very interesting. Nobody can see John in the snow. She called it a mound of snow. She didn't call it John, because the only person that knew it was John was the person who backed into him and threw him right there where she found him. She's the only person that knew that there was a body underneath that snow. So she's going to get convicted for that part. The question is, did she mean to hit him? There's no evidence of that, in my opinion.
No, please, for my whatever. Yes, I need to return to third section. Third section, you know, we can't have the man tapped out in the snow. You can't pull up because you can't push go. You can't get to know, okay? Yeah, no, I think I did it. You got the house, I said mine. I'm going to keep
You tried to gaslight me.
Okay. I'm going Where's the market? I don't think I can have 911 was your G. I immediately pissed her so you know, can't do that. What's going on? There's a guy on the shotgun in the snow. In the snow? 34? Yes, 34, the Albert resident. Yes, I just pulled up and found it. It's supposed to be a UPS map, yeah. Not on the subject alert, emergency. Hello? Yes, I'm talking, you got the 34, yes, you wrote it, you said? 34 Fairview? Yes, it is, I mean, I'm responsive to the snow. Okay,
You can't really hear that. That one's hard to hear for whatever reason. Let's see. Trooper grilled about mirrored video.
Trooper Michael Proctor showed pieces from the taillight of Karen Reed's SUV, which he says he first noticed when he saw it outside Reed's parents' home following John O'Keefe's death.
The right rear taillight had such large pieces missing from it.
The defense says Proctor broke the taillight after the SUV was seized as evidence and brought to the Canton Police Department. Proctor denied that.
Sergeant Buchanan and I never touched any part of that vehicle.
Proctor says he never made any decisions about the case on his own and that he conducted nearly all of the interviews with other officers present. He said he does know the Elbert family who owned the home where O'Keefe was found, but only through his sister and not well.
I'd classify it as acquaintances.
Earlier, another investigator, Sergeant Yuri Buchanek, was again grilled about video of Reed's SUV at the Canton Police Department. The video was originally shown to the jury horizontally inverted.
Do you believe that what the jurors are seeing right here is a true and accurate surveillance footage of the Sally Port that night?
If you ask the Delphi community, this video here is photoshopped in AI.
Yes, it's just mirrored.
Defense attorney Alan Jackson said about 2/3 of the mirrored video is missing and that people in the video seem to appear out of nowhere. Buchanek explained that like this.
I could tell you that the video is triggered by motion.
Trooper Michael Proctor showed pieces from the taillight of Karen Reed's SUV.
Well, still the fan. Waiting for the shit to hit the fan. Could be involuntary homicide. Yeah, I'm thinking vehicular manslaughter is what she's going to get. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Like a record, baby, right round, right round. What's up, She-Warrior? What's your prediction? Are we going to get a verdict today or what? J-Ray, I would too. I would vote not guilty. And I couldn't in good conscience say that she, did this on purpose or whatever. There's just no evidence to support that. Thanks, bad actors. Welcome to Movie Phone. Maybe I should go do that. All right, let's go back to the notes. So we talked about comments made by first responders. We did talk about, I guess we can go over the closing arguments again. So Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan argued that Reed, drunk and angry, struck John with her Lexus SUV and left him to die in a blizzard outside Brian Albert's home in Canton on January 29th, 2022. He emphasized Reed's alleged statement, "I hit him," the broken taillight pieces found at the scene, and data showing her SUV in reverse around 12:32 a.m., aligning with O'Keefe's phone last recorded movement. That's damning right there. So you have her taillights. You have her vehicle reversing at the exact same moment his phone stops moving. Very interesting. Brennan acknowledged Trooper Michael Proctor's inappropriate text, but insisted they don't negate physical evidence like the cocktail glass and taillight shards. So we have images of John kind of carrying around, taking the glass from the bars as he's leaving. If he's doing the same thing, leaving Karen's vehicle and gets run over by her, you're going to find that pieces of that glass near the crime scene. And they did. Like, there's no question about it that she hit him. Attorney Alan Jackson called the prosecution's case embarrassingly grasping at straws, right? It's his job to say that. Is it embarrassingly grasping at straws? Absolutely not. But that's what he's hired to say. He's not supposed to go in there and be like, yeah, she's fucked. She paid me all this money and I really couldn't do nothing about it. Yeah, she's most likely going to be found guilty today. No, he's supposed to say the prosecution's case is embarrassingly grasping at straws, because that's what he's paid to say. Arguing Reed was framed in a police cover-up, he highlighted expert testimony from biomechanical engineer Andrew Rentschler and forensic pathologist Elizabeth Lapasada, who said O'Keefe's injuries, head laceration, arm wounds, were consistent with the vehicle strike, but could suggest a beating or dog attack. Jackson pointed to the taillight damage possibly occurring when Reed backed into O'Keefe's car at his home, not at the scene, and criticized the investigation integrity, citing Proctor's firing. So I think they pretty much proved that the taillight was intact after she backed into John's vehicle. The defense concluded its case after testimony from their final witness, Andrew Rentschler, a biomechanical engineer from ARCA. Rentschler testified that O'Keefe's injuries didn't align with being hit by a car, facing contentious cross-examination from Brennan, who questioned his methods and bias. All right, obviously, prosecution opted not to call rebuttal witnesses. It's better left to not, help yourself out. No more questioning for this guy. Yep, lesser charge. I think so. I think that's the only one that they can prove. Manslaughter. Yeah, I think there's proof that she hit him. And if she's drinking, even if it's an accident, just the fact that she's driving while intoxicated, makes that manslaughter. The reckless disregard. Thank you, Mustang. Yeah, if you guys could. If you can't hit the Cash App, hit the like button. Not guilty tomorrow. Yeah, I think one not guilty and then one guilty. What are the charges? Second-degree murder or manslaughter or both? Yep, operating under the influence. Mustang, no, she wasn't married to him. But he recently started caring for his nephew and his niece. Their parents passed away. And she was feeling a lot of pressure. I think she was putting more pressure on herself than anything. And we do that sometimes, don't we?
Lieutenant, if you could describe using the laser pointer there as far as what we're looking at in this particular camera angle and shot, and as far as the roadways that you.
This is an exterior camera from Temple Beth Abraham at 1301 Washington Street. Where it's paused now at 1201, I believe is the timestamp. You see a vehicle here. That vehicle is traveling on Washington Street. We are.
Okay, guys, I think this is going to conclude part 1. And today we might jump back on if there's any updates. If not, we'll be back here around the same time tomorrow. So if you guys have anything to add, do it now. This will be our 5-minute warning. If we do get a verdict, boom, we're going live. But I think if they were going to reach a verdict, they would have done it by now. So I think we'll be back here tomorrow morning. They're going to sleep on it. What's up? Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Finding out where John O'Keefe went. Only thing I can't get over is leaving without finding out where John O'Keefe went. I wouldn't drop off my son and not find out where she went. What's going on? Nicely done. What's up? Melissa Howe's body cam. She hit her husband. He would, and twisted arms reminds me of Karen Reed. Melissa Howes. Well, the thing is, I don't think that she used the vehicle as a weapon. I don't think they proved it. I think it could be just an accident. You know, maybe she went in reverse, tried to kind of squeal her tires and peel off like she was mad. But while in reverse, instead of squealing her tires and driving off, trying to prove her point, she actually ran over John. I think that could be something that actually happened. Head wound and twisted arms. Yep. No injuries to the legs, right? I mean, why would you have injuries to the legs if somebody just backed into you and threw you, right? And didn't run over you? Alrighty, guys. We are going to get out of here. If we get a verdict today, we will. But I have a feeling that we're not going to see it today. Alrighty, guys. If you're part of that replay crew, you know exactly what to do. Drop a comment. We'll get back to you. If you need to get a hold of me, hit me up at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. All my contact information can be found on sleuthintuition.com. You can also get merchandise there if you'd like to. Big thanks to everybody who supports my channel, all of you who showed up here today to have a conversation. And make sure you guys participate in that poll. We're going to close it down right now. So will they reach a verdict today? 28% of you say yes, not guilty. 25% of you say yes, guilty. 23% say no, tomorrow. So it's pretty much split right down the middle. So we will continue to monitor the Karen Reed trial. And if anything changes, guys, I promise we will go live. Otherwise, be here tomorrow, the exact same time. And we'll keep our eyes peeled. Until then, peace.